where you're from currently and where you're from, where's your motherland. So we'll have a bit of a sense of the places, the spots on Mother Earth that are present with us today. Thank you everyone for making the time. So we don't have a lot of time, so we will begin as people are joining in. Thank you all for being with us here today. This was a very short notice because we have gotten requests from people in Israel, people in Palestine, people in other places in the world that for some reason have their eye and heart on the Holy Land. And of course, this resonates a lot of the other wars that are happening in the world and in the hearts of many of us, maybe with ourselves, maybe with Earth, maybe with other humans, the planet. So we have asked our elders to come here today and help us tap into how to find peace in times of crisis and war. And the way we are going to do it is going to be that I will set the guidelines for the talking circle, like we set the table before the meal, and then the elders will offer their different dishes, their different stories, their different truths about that. And after that, we will have a song from a Palestinian Israeli Arab singer, Miriam Tukan, for those who know her. And after that, we will go into breakout rooms without cameras. This part will not be recorded, and you will be able to have a talking circle with one of the elders. Each room will have a different elder facilitating. So thank you for making the time, and thank you for those joining. And as we are doing these talking circles, the first thing that we do is set the guidelines, so we are all on the same page and we can all help remember those guidelines and stay with them. So the first thing is to read the guidelines at the beginning, even if everyone knows it, just like if everyone knows where the forks are in your house. Still, when you invite people, you set the table. This is a talking circle, which means the circle does the talking while we are doing the listening. The difference is that this part is shared also publicly, so it's not confidential. So it's not a traditional talking circle for this part, because we would like to make it available for others. But other than that, it follows the guidelines. When we share or when we listen, we do it with respect to ourselves, to our other selves here in the circle and beyond, to time and attention that are limited because we are humans, which means two people can have very different truths about the same subject, maybe about even the same situation. And I know that if I experience something through my lived experience as a deer, the lion can have a very different truth. And it doesn't mean that the lion is wrong and I'm right. It just means that there are two truths to be held in one space. For me, it's like the womb when I was pregnant, and suddenly I felt hunger and nausea at the same time. And I thought I was going crazy, but no, I was just going pregnant. And if we allow that, if we allow two hearts to beat in the same space, then something new can begin to exist in us and possibly in the world outside of us. So that's what we are requesting. We are requesting to be respectful and listen without judgment, without agenda, without titles or flags, without trying to market or control or lecture anyone, without planning what you're going to say. Just listen as you are speaking or your other self is speaking. Listen to the words. And if something is already said, you don't need to repeat that, because the circle has already spoken to that, even if not in your exact words. Listen with the innocence of a child, hearing something for the very first time. Think about the first time you heard about platypus or pyramids or unicorn, and you just took in the story without judging it if it's right or wrong. We are asking to speak without cross-talking, and you do not have to speak. Everyone will get a chance to be heard at least once, but you do not have to take that. You, in these circles, even if you do not speak, you will be heard, as one of our Australian Aboriginal elders once said. And that is, yeah, we speak our truth. We do not speak something that we have borrowed from somewhere else or that we were taught in kind of, you know, educated books or something. We speak about our own truth from our own lived experience. And now if anyone has any more changes or if I forgot something, Guya, please remind me. I'll be quiet for 10 seconds, which is rare. And then you can put in the chat box or on mute.
Everyone who speaks, their truth is equally valid as your truth.
Yes. It could be opposite truth, but it's just as valid as the other person's or as mine or other self.
Do we have an opening prayer, Yao?
Yes. Our grandmother, Mona Polaka, has agreed to take us into the sacred space with a prayer. Mona, please.
Ascli, thank you. And greet each and every one of you who is joining this prayer. I'm honored and grateful to the good creator for this day and all the divine creations, the water, the air, the fire, the earth, all these divine creations that give us life. And here again, this day here coming before you, Bakuva, coming before you to seek your guidance, your blessing upon us here as we come together, putting our hearts, minds, and spirits together through the airwaves and through this internet connection, calling on you to recognize our prayers, our thoughts, our expressions that we're going to make here at this time about our concerns about the situation that is being called a war in the Middle East on the land of the Palestinians and the Israelis and their the way that these atrocities are affecting so many innocent people, especially the children, and calling on you to ease the hearts and the minds and the spirits of the ones who are waging this this atrocity. Not only on each other as people, but also on the land, on the water, and other living beings of that are in that area, as well as different places around the world where there is this conflict occurring. Here again, calling upon you to recognize our voices, our thoughts, our feelings, in the way that we are going to express ourselves, and we're going to listen to one another. We're going to connect with one another in our feelings and in how we look at each other and how we think about each other. Those of us that are on this prayer here throughout the world, you might touch each and every one of us, and in a really good, peaceful manner, so that the vibration that's going to come from these prayers will go around the world to those places where it is needed and touch the hearts and the minds and the spirits of the leadership who are making these decisions. So I call upon you that way, and then each and every one of us that is on this call that are making prayers, that are going to lead the discussions and the talking circle. I'm grateful to you here again that we have this way, a way to connect with one another, to address our own needs, our own concerns that we have, so that because of our sacred connection in life, we have some feelings about it, and maybe through our time, our energy, our efforts here and presence with one another in this way, there might be some resolution that might come from it. There might be some resolution within ourselves too, so that we could continue to work on behalf of creating this wonderful concept of peace and harmony among each other throughout the world. If there's anything I left out, I ask that you could take care of it for me, just like you always do. And I give thanks to you for the water, the air, the fire, the earth, all these divine creations that give us life. I say this to you for all my relations. Escali, 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 escali.
Esquili, Elder, thank you so much. May it be so. May the heart here be pure and resonate pure energy, peaceful energy. And with that, I would like to ask our first elder speaker to take us in. Auntie Puna, are you with us?
Aloha. Mahalo for allowing me to be a part of this expression of peace. May we all be mindful of Elder Mona and her blessing. May we also be mindful of our kuleana, or responsibility, as we spend this time with people that are now our families and our friends. May we come and be in this visit with one another in gratitude, appreciation, and especially thoughtfulness, to understand and appreciate where people are and be able to hear and listen to them as they share their concerns and their love. May we do all of this in the name of Aloha. Mahalo.
Thank you, Auntie. Mahalo. May we indeed be able to listen in that manner and share in that manner. And with that, I would like to ask Celine, our Quechua Aymara elder from Peru, if you can share with us. I know your country is also at war. Please.
I would like to start with blessing all the Indigenous people in this meeting, all the Indigenous people around the world, and offering this grandfather tobacco for our insight. I won't mention the pain, the deaths, or the disturbances in the lives of our siblings from Palestine or in neither Israel. I will mention the enormous potential that our cultures has to restart, to reinitiate, to reload and redistribution of the power around the world. The regenerative power of our cultures be spread around the world. I won't mention the pain. I won't mention the sadness. Not because I ignore that, what is happening. We don't mention that because we are surviving 800 years of that since the colonizer came. And we survive with energy, with happiness, with joy, and with gratitude. Our resilience is based on that. So the only thing I have to give to you is my personal experience as a healer. And I want to share with all of you the enormous regenerative potential that our uses and cultures have, and we can spread to other parts in the world. We, the Quechua culture, here in South America, Colombia, Bolivia, parts of Brazil, Ecuador, even Panama, Chile and Argentina, we are the alive proof that resilience can be demonstrated when a culture is genuine and is also pure and can keep the mercy, the compassion for ourselves and also for other people. I don't feel rage against my colonizers, even knowing they was rapists. My grandmother was raped. Instead of that, the enormous potential of the transformative potential of the Quechua Aymara culture can be copied and pasted in other cultures. The human being are devoted to war. This is inside the human nature. The conquer, violence, this balance of power is part of being human. Against that, we can offer the transformative power of our culture. Starting with the grandfather tobacco, this is our pipe of peace. I want to offer this tobacco. It's virgin tobacco, it's a special tobacco, super special tobacco, just for special occasions. I use it here just to remind the enormous transformative potential we indigenous people have over a world in destruction. And also in this moment, I would like to share the values that make my culture transformative. Excuse me. On the way how we see nature transform every day. We cannot change what is in the bottom of the earth of our leaders. What we can change is our own heart and what is in our own soul. And always watching what we are thinking. If what we are thinking is aligned with what are we feeling. And we call this with just one verb, the verb of thinking and feeling. Not in two separate verbs, but in one. For us, seems impossible to change the mind of our leaders. Leaders who do not, or the much pain they are causing around the world. But look at us, look at me, for example, look at me. And I will call the power of our plants, the power of our language, the power of the things we sow constantly, and the power of nature to transform a situation and to do understand this is how the human being has inhabited this beautiful planet. We have to accept certain things. We have to accept the nature of a warrior of humans. The thing we cannot reject is the transformative power of certain cultures, starting with our language. So what I want to do is to dedicate a meditation minute from all of us, trying to keep the power of the resilience of the indigenous people around the world. And bring this as an example, how transformative could be a culture when it's original, when it's entirely true, and when it's entirely powerful. Thank you for joining me in a minute of meditation. This moment is a crucial moment. Humankind won't be the same after this day. We are not the same than before yesterday. Everything is in dynamic movement. And we have to accept that in ourselves, inside, there is the flame, there is the seed of a total transformation. We just have to put this on the table. Thank you for joining me in this meditation. Thank you so much to all of you. Aho, haye.
Thank you, Celine. Tupananchiskama.
Thank you.
Thank you for helping us listen to the nature inwards and outwards, outside and within. I was going to ask Mona to share next, but she had to leave early. And so I'm wondering, Auntie Puna, maybe you can share a bit about, I got some personal requests to speak a little bit more about what Celine was saying about letting go of anger. How do we not go into anger and blame and wanting revenge? The reason we're doing the women first is to, speaking of nature, I'll just explain, to create the sacred feminine space before expanding and letting others in. So Auntie Puna, if you can help us with that.
Sure. If you open your hands and actually look at the emotion of anger, if we're able to put that in that perspective, to actually look at it, and not just feel it. Because often we speak from that emotion of what we feel. But if you're able to put it in your hands and look at the anger, one, where it's coming from, and all the things that brought you to that point. I know it sounds simple to say these things, but to turn it over, turn your hands over and create an altar of hope. It's about balance. If we are consumed by our anger, our ability to help and be of help to others disappears. If we take on the emotion of others, the ability for us to be a good listener disappears. If we cannot see and experience what they're saying, our ability to help disappears. But what's important is that we as listeners, we must take the time to come from a place of abundance, meaning we must malama or take care of ourselves first. If you come to a session like this with anger, that is what you're going to promote. Those things need to be released and let go. So much of the kuyana that we have as listeners is making sure that we're prepared. Thank you for the moment that was given to all of us in that moment of thought, because it allowed all of us to come to one place in thought. Now we come together in spirit. And even more so, we share in the celebration of all these people that will come, that we have the opportunity to listen to. So pointing to yourself and thinking about yourself is not being selfish, it's being responsible. Stepping into the different circles and being a leader, I should say, being able to be a listener to all those who want to share and tell of their pain. We must come prepared and ready to be able to witness what is being said and helping to be a receptacle that can turn all of that over and create this place and lift it up, this altar. Oftentimes people are consumed by the anger and cannot let it go. I believe that possibly those things will be in the chat rooms that we are a part of. So everything comes back to us as a collective thought. All of us in those rooms coming together and being able to help to lift the burdens and the sadness and the challenges that we are being privileged to hear and see, and look at it as a gift and help to turn it over, help to create that altar of peace. But it begins with all of us as individuals. So entering into that room, let us come and be the witness, and be the listener, and be able to observe, hear, and then feel and appreciate. I speak a little bit about Maui, just a little, because it's the challenges that are being expressed, but it was a challenge that was created by Mother Nature. Families and people around the island chain, everyone wanted to help, just like now. We all want to help all those that will come into our chat room. I cannot begin to say that I could even imagine the pain and the sorrow that these people experienced, but I was able to witness them speaking of their hurt, their loss, and especially the devastation that occurred there. Really, the anger that they felt was the inability to do something about it. And I share with you a story. A gentleman who was a fireman was fighting the fire in Lahaina. Unbeknownst to him, his children were in Kula, and the second fire was above his home. The children were sent home from school. Lahaina. The child called the parent and said, "Dad, we're at home." He said, "Stay put. You're safe there." His wife called. She was in Kihei. Now, these are towns apart. She came home to be with her children. She left the fire that was happening in Kihei and came home to her children in Kula. This firefighter continued to fight the fire in Lahaina. The last call that he got was from his son saying, "Dad, our house is full of smoke." That was the first inclination that there was a second fire. And that was the last conversation he had with his son. Today, this gentleman is a firefighter who continues to look for the remains of other people. I had the opportunity to hear him in his sadness. And when he told me that story, of course, my heart was full with sadness because he lost his 4 children and he lost his wife. And he was fighting a fire in another town. You know, Spirit gives us things to experience in our lives that oftentimes in the moment we are not able to see or even feel the enormity. In speaking to this gentleman, he said to me, "Auntie, I did my job. I did my job in putting the fire, trying to put the fire out in Lahaina." And I listened to him say, "If I only did this, if I only told them that," you know, I listened to him bare his soul about the sadness. He said, "I instructed my wife to come home to our house." What I'm talking about is this gentleman continues to look for the remains of other people. And he does it with resilience, sadness. But every opportunity that he is able to find the remains of others, he said, brings him joy because that allows them closure. My reason for sharing that story is I look at this gentleman and life goes on. And that really is what we're all about. Being able to listen, to hear, to experience and witness their pain, but also celebrate and lift them up by being present. So I thank all of you for listening to this one story. There's many. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Auntie. Thank you for the tears. And for reminding us that, yes, life and death are so tied together often. And Ed, I'm wondering if you can share next, Elder Ed.
Hello, my name is Ed, or I'm called Chanumpa Wakan, Oyate Eghamani, Mato Wambly, which means Holy Pipe walks with all nations, with the eagle and the bear. And just listening, to our aunties here and our women speak is important because, I'm from a warrior background, a veteran, and we kind of see things from that male perspective. And so when we hear, what Mona was saying and what Yel was saying in the beginning about our own truth, and what Kuliak has said as well, that each truth is as valid as another truth, even if they're in direct opposition. And this is exactly what's happening right now in the Middle East and many, many parts of the world. And that is their truths are in opposition to one another. So it results in conflict. Is their truth valid? In the warrior world, we say one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. So it's hard to understand these conflicts because of what we just talked about. The attacking force, obviously, it feels that is their truth. This is what they must do. The defending force is in response to the attack, right? And so as a defending warrior, you stand up to defend. So so the resolution of these things, as Auntie Puna had said, is probably not something that is realistically achievable. And as Selene had said about our leaders. So the truths that the individuals feel and believe to be their truths are oftentimes tainted by the decisions of a long period since we're talking about the Middle East, since the times of Nimrod, or some people refer to him as Gilgamesh, who going forth conquering and to conquer. So since those times have begun, the Ikchewichasha, or the original human beings. And so what does that mean? Original human beings, kind of what Sister Selene was saying about the resilience of the indigenous culture, which really relates and boils down to memories, the memories of what it means to be an original human being in harmony, or at least in connection with the universe, our Mother Earth, all of the elements, our local environments that allow us to be in awe of the creation and the creator, or Wakantanka, things that are beyond the understanding or comprehension of human beings. This is where our ceremonies originate and need to take us. So this is where the real truth hides itself, not in the truth that we adopt from our own creations as we go around and create cities, we create this, we create that, create all the houses that we're living in. And then we try to fix the results of our creations, which are obviously and manifesting themselves in destruction. So to find peace in these times is to try and find an understanding that not all of us have a path back to the Iksharichasha, or an opportunity even to live in harmony with our local environment, our creation, because it's being exploited and destroyed. So how do we return to that? We can only return to that in our hearts and in our spirit in here, as again our women were telling us. And so it's important, I think, for these women all around the world to continue to protect those memories, because many of the things, if you're a believer of prophecy, many prophecies all around the world, that these things will come to pass. And so part of maintaining the resilience is memory, remembering and preserving our original traditions that we're able to hang on to, of how to relate on a spiritual and a molecular level with the creation, so that we can interact properly as proper human beings with the creation and one another. And so the difficult situations that are arising, I think last time I checked, there was close to 70 wars going on around the world already. And so whenever we see things happening in the Middle East, and specifically with Israel, we are reminded that the Israelis are really like the clock of the world. And so as things begin to happen there, we need to remember the prophecies, not just from there, the Middle East, but from all around the world, which are very, very similar, and take steps to minimize the suffering of human beings who want to come back into the true light of this universal harmony, in spite of and during the suffering. And so as a warrior, you suffer a lot. It's not easy to, it's easy to, oh yeah, look at there, here they come, here comes the bullet. So yeah, pull the cannon, shoot the cannon, shoot the tank, and then walk up there and see the little kids blown to pieces. Okay, so there's great suffering too after the war for those who are going through there, not only those who are being killed and suffering, which is it's just horrific. It's not in harmony really with our spirit, although it is, as Celine said, part of our nature. And so how do we ease the suffering of all of that? And I guess just being part of it. I know that many of us in the Indigenous community and elders, and both male and female, there are people who carry these burdens daily. You know, I know that these things never leave my mind or my heart. I'm always suffering. I'm always feeling the pain of the creation. I'm feeling the pain of the people in Israel. I'm feeling the pain of the children walking on top of the garbage dumps. I'm feeling that pain continually. So I have to go to the ceremonies to release those things, and for my own peace, to release it, to Tankashla, to Wakantanka. And in that prayer, to asking for to let me suffer. I will suffer for, and not the kids. Can you see me? Say, Wamayanka yo. Behold me, look at me. I'm here suffering. And so maybe, by doing the ceremonies, cleansing yourself in accordance with your culture, purifying your heart and your spirit. I mean, you see me with this sage here. This is an herb that we use to keep away the negativity, the evil spirits of the unseen world away. And part of the results that we're seeing around the world are obviously from those entities and from the unseen world. So we need to continually be in prayer, but also be working and helping those in need. And that alone can give you some solace and peace by helping others, because we know that there are many things we cannot change. And so we have to do the best we can. And so as a spiritual person, those are my truths. But as a warrior, what can you say? If they come over here and trying to kill my little kid, I'm going to be doing something back, right? Even though my own heart, my own spirit is saying, you shouldn't be doing that. Don't kill because you're killed. You're defending. And so these conflicts are eternal and our battle. So part of our suffering here is for purification, that we might purify ourselves and our nature, so that as the circle of life completes itself, not just my little life of being born, walking through the stages of my life in old age, and then going back through the portal, but of the human race. And many cultures around the world, including the Lakota, believe in the reincarnation, that you will return and keep returning. I know that other faiths, say that the way out of that is enlightenment. And so trying to understand and seeking avoidance of our nature of destructiveness and emotion, as Antipuna was saying, controlling us, that we can reach a level, of more purity of spirit. Many people around the world have shown examples, just to name a few. I mean, you talk about Martin Luther King, you talk about Gandhi, you talk about Jesus, you talk, things that many of us could never be that empty of emotion and reaction to really just give your life in that peaceful manner, of suffering in your own heart and going to the other side. So the difficulties are beyond measure. So that's why we need to reach out to the Wakantanka, the creator Tonkashila, our grandfathers, our ancestors, for guidance and strength, that we might become better human beings each day and walk on Mother Earth in a sacred manner instead of in conflict. Hechitulo, Miegalo, Chanumpa Wakan Kichewi Chasha, Tonkashila Wakantanka, Pilama Yapalo, Aho, Mitaku.
Oh, thank you, Ed. And thank you for doing ceremony, and for what I'm learning from you is to, first of all, we got to be aware. And then when you're aware that you need to surrender some of your traumas to ceremony. And thank you for going and doing that. And I've had the privilege of being with Ed in a ceremony in his inipi, and it was one of the most powerful experiences. So thank you for allowing everything that you are allowing to come through you towards others. And Kuya, can we please hear from you as well?
Yeah. Well, I give thanks to Aho, the maker, and my guardian angel, spirit guides, and ancestors and helpers for this time, and for these elders who have shared their wisdom. My name is Kuya, which in my language, the Unungan language, is we don't call ourselves valued because that was given to us by our former oppressors. But we call ourselves Unungan, which means the real people by the sea. We've been out in the Bering Sea for over 10,000 years, and we're still there. It's a rich tradition that I have depended on to guide me through my work. And this kuyak means an arm extending out from the body, a carrier of ancient knowledge into modern times, a messenger. And I was given that name by the last kuyak that was left alive when I was 4 years old. And now I'm living the legacy of my name. Well, you've heard sayings like, or maybe you haven't, like light so bright as to blind those who cannot see. And that as the light goes up, the darkness comes up with it for a period of time equal to the light. And I tell you, I have been in Zoom conferences like this for the last 3.5 years, where at the invitation of others, and I've talked with thousands of people all over the world, and they are waking up. They're saying what used to work for us doesn't work anymore. What do we do now? And I feel all the things that everyone collectively feels about what's happening now, but what has happened for thousands of years amongst human beings. And I hear people praying to God like it's a Santa Claus God. Please help me with this, give me that. We're talking about give to me or to us, to our loved one. But we traditionally give thanks to the Creator, to a whole. Thanks and gratitude. Because we have been given everything that we need. And we have forgotten it. And we have forgotten who we are as real human beings. And that what happens to human beings as a result of our own actions is left up to us to deal with, not a whole. But there are those beings like the guardian angels, ancestors, spirit guides, and helpers who have agreed to help us. If we ask them, we have to ask them. If we don't ask, we don't get anything. That is one of the things that we've been given in life is choice. And that to ask for something, for help, is a choice. Now, these wars that have continued on for thousands of years is a human creation that is helped by the darkness, the evil energies in the world. And, you know, and we wonder what we should do about it, but when we're real human beings who are present in the moment and in the heart and in the womb, we know what needs to be done. And but most people have forgotten that. Now, for example, you know, for hatred and rage to exist, you have had to have drifted so far apart from being a real human being. And when you hate someone, you don't see them as people. You see them as the enemy or some other label that separates them from us. And we would just as soon step on a bug as to kill a person. There's no feeling that the person can access when they hate. And so we wonder, what do we do about that? Because the hatred is existing around the world and is growing because the darkness is growing equal to the light for a period of time. And we understand that you know, we cannot help a person directly who is hateful. We can pray for them and pray for their help in changing. But also women, you all women have a very serious responsibility now. You know, we have a saying about the womb at the center of the universe. It's a place of creation and creativity. And the identical field of energy is in every woman's womb. And that when women come together, it is said, and heal themselves, they can take this sacred energy within them collectively and put it on the outside so something new can be birthed. Until this happens, nothing new is going to be birthed. And so if we want peace, the women must understand that we must become peace. We can't think peace, we can't do peace, we must become peace. And only then will peace happen. And for the men, we've got to protect the sacred space of women so they can do their work. And they must work on themselves first. We all must work on ourselves first. The elders say the most unselfish thing we can do right now is to heal ourselves. And when we do that, we're able to access that that is connected to the divine through our hearts and wombs. That when we access that, we don't think about what we're going to do in this situation. We just receive that guidance as to what we must do now. And so this is something that we have forgotten as real human beings. And we've got to get back to that, because the elders say, you know, Mother Earth, she survived for billions of years. She's going to survive for billions more. It's a question about whether or not we, humans, are going to survive. And we're going to decide that in this generation of people across Mother Earth. And until we realize how serious this is, you know, we're not going to go anywhere except disappear from the earth. And so we must realize that business as usual is not going to work. We've got to do something different, and that's outside the mind, which is telling our hearts what to do instead of the heart telling the mind what to do. And my job traditionally has been to implement that which your heart is telling you. And this is where I see people around the world are starting to wake up to. And the fact that we have these people here listening is really good. It's the people of like-minded heart. And that, according to our elders, is going to be the new definition of tribe. We're not going to have the old definition anymore. So thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Kuya. May we wake up. May we be peace. May we become wombs of peace. This is my wish, and so this is my work in the world. And we were going to have a song now, but we are a bit short for time, and I would like us to have the talking circles where also our community can be facilitated by our elders. So we will go into breakout rooms now, and the song will come after. We have about 4 minutes each to share. Please be mindful of time. Please remain clear of agendas and flags and marketing and lecturing. Please allow your truth from what you know from your own lived experiences, and know that it is just as valid as someone else's truth, which can be the opposite. You will be given the chance to speak, but you do not have to take it. For even if you do not speak, you will be heard. Anything that happens in those circles remains in those circles. So please do not share, even if with the person that is in the circle with you. If you happen to see them outside the circle, don't go into that without asking permission, because something about the here and the now and this safe, brave space is not always the case, even moments later, even with the same people. So please be respectful towards your other self here in the circle and beyond, towards yourself, time and attention. And with that, Yasmin, our tech person, if you can please send us to the rooms.
Yeah.